Guitar Hero is now 20 years old. I'm uploading this video on November 8th, 2025, exactly 20 years to the day since Guitar Hero 1 first arrived in North America. I wanted to commemorate the occasion by telling you my story with this series and its related games, because Guitar Hero changed my life. My story with Guitar Hero begins a little less than 20 years ago, in November of 2007. 2 years after the original game was released in North America. Guitar Hero 3 had just begun its takeover of the world, or at least my older cousin's living room. He had some of his friends over, and they were taking turns playing through the Korea on medium, rocking out, showing off, and having the time of their lives. I sat and watched, completely enthralled by the colours coming down the screen. After a little while, they had beaten the first boss, the famous Tom Morello guitar battle, and the subsequent encore of Bulls on Parade. As soon as they returned to the song select menu, I noticed a song that I recognised, and I begged for a turn to try my hand at playing When You Were Young. I had no choice but to try the medium difficulty, as that was the difficulty that the others had agreed on. My cousin and his friends were in their late teens, so 12-year-old me wasn't going to argue. I was just happy that they let me have a go. Naturally, on my first try, I failed the song just a few short seconds in. It didn't really make any sense. I thought that I had at least some dexterity in my fingers, as I'd been playing the piano for about 5 years at that point, but it didn't really help me here. At least, until I quickly realised something that may have been holding me back. Can I please try it again, holding the guitar the other way around? As you all probably know, I'm left-handed, but it wasn't obvious to the others in the room that it meant I should hold the controller the other way around. But they did know that there was a lefty flip option in the settings, so they turned it on and passed the controller back to me for one more try. And everything instantly clicked. My stronger and my more dexterous hand when playing the piano was always my right hand, since it always did the melody on the higher keys, so it only made sense to my brain that it should be the hand that I do my fretting with. I also had way more strength and accuracy with the wrist movements required for strumming with my true dominant hand, my left hand. So we restarted the song with me holding the guitar the wrong way around. I don't remember much of the next 4 minutes of my life, but I do remember seeing the purple 4x multiplier being on the screen for at least half of the song, and I do remember some surprise among the older kids upon me passing the song on my second try. This may sound like a humble brag, and I'm sorry for that, but as soon as I held it like a lefty, the stars aligned. My cousin and his friends didn't give me another turn that night, and to be honest, I've kind of forgot about the game after that night, at least for a few months. Fast forward to March 2008. I'm having a sleepover at my house with some of my own friends, and one of them turns up to my house with a copy of the original Guitar Hero for the PS2 and an SG controller. The memory of a few months prior came rushing back to me. We spent most of the following day playing and replaying the songs in Guitar Hero 1, never daring to go beyond the medium difficulty. By the end of that day, I was begging my parents to buy me a copy of Guitar Hero for myself so that I could practice and play anytime I wanted. Luckily for me, my birthday was right around the corner. In April 2008, my mum and dad followed through. I received Guitar Hero 3 for the PS2 for my birthday that year, and I had no idea at the time just how much it would change my life. Over the following weeks and months, I played Guitar Hero at every possible opportunity that I got. I progressed from medium difficulty up to hard and then finally to expert. I spent hours practicing to overcome failing songs, to going for 5-star scores on every Korea song, to beating the final guitar battle versus Lou, to finally passing the legendary Through the Fire and Flames for the very first time. Over the following months, I've managed to also get copies of Guitar Hero 2 and Guitar Hero Rocks the 80s as well, so I had access to even more songs to play and practice and get better at. I would even start scoring 100%, a full combo, on some of the simpler expert charts. In October 2008, I stumbled across the ScoreHero website and promptly made an account to start documenting the scores and FCs that I'd achieved. I don't remember when I got my first FC, but my earliest documented FC on ScoreHero is Closer by Lacuna Coil, uploaded on October 1st, 2008. Clearly I'd been getting better at the game and scoring some nice FCs well before that date, as just 1 week later I recorded the third ever FC of Knock Me Down from Guitar Hero on Tour, arguably the second hardest song on that game due to the horrible strumming mechanics on the Nintendo DS. I mention this because it's still one of the crazier FCs on my record, happening less than 6 months after I started playing Guitar Hero properly. Guitar Hero had such an influential chokehold on me that by the time Christmas rolled around at the end of 2008, I was on my knees once again begging to my parents to buy me a beginner electric guitar, a real guitar, and to let me quit piano lessons after 7 years. They could clearly see the passion, or maybe it was insanity, in my eyes, and they agreed to it. So after Christmas that year, I was constantly struggling to put down both the real and the plastic guitar. For the following year or so, I kept practicing and pushing my skill as far as I could, but unfortunately I was not able to keep up with the great rhythm game oversaturation of 2009. The only time I was really able to try new Guitar Hero games was either visiting friends who had those games on other systems, or by renting the below average PS2 versions from my local Blockbuster. It wasn't until April 2010 that I made the jump myself to Xbox 360 and started collecting all the games that I'd missed out over the previous year. I just got my first job as well, so I did what any responsible 15-year-old would do. All of my paychecks from my first job went straight to the local EB Games to either collect Guitar Hero or Rock Band games, or to buy Microsoft points to start building up a huge DLC library. Really, the addiction only grew deeper at this point. Along with my migration over to the Xbox 360, I also scored a Band Hero full band kit with my hard-earned cash, and started taking an interest in the drums portion of these games as well. Having tried a real drum kit in music classes at high school, I could tell that the video game drums were a lot closer to the real thing than the plastic guitar ever was to its real-life counterpart. So I started using Guitar Hero and Rock Band as a way of teaching myself the basics of how to play the drums. As luck would have it, my high school would also sell off its oldest, most beaten-up drum kit to me later that year for just $100, and I was able to start translating the sticking patterns and rhythms from the plastic kit to the real kit. Over the following years, the obsession never really wavered. I spent all my free time practicing the various plastic and real instruments that had accumulated in my house, and eventually took an interest in learning how to record the real ones using GarageBand. I'd try to learn all my favourite songs from Guitar Hero and Rock Band games, because that was pretty much my entire music taste at that point in time, and record various covers as a way of learning how to record, arrange and produce music. I was taking formal guitar lessons at the time as well, and would also go on to begin writing my own music. On the plastic side, I was chasing FCs and high scores left and right, and even uploaded a few of them to YouTube. Unfortunately, a lot of these videos have been lost media for over a decade now, but there are still a few that remain, and as of releasing this video, I'm making all of these still existing videos public to watch once again. There's a link to my old channel in the video description. Go enjoy. Of course, the general hype for Guitar Hero and Rock Band gradually faded in the years following the 2010 releases Rock Band 3 and Guitar Hero Warriors of Rock. By the time that both series were believed to be done and dusted, I'd become more interested in playing FPS games with my friends anyway, so my playtime on 5-fret games slowly declined through 2013 and 2014. By the time I moved out of my parents' house in 2015, I'd basically kicked the obsession and transitioned into almost exclusively following the advice of every internet troll by playing a real guitar instead. I was happy. I'd used Guitar Hero and Rock Band as a stepping stone into playing styles of music that I'd fallen in love with. I'd parted with some of the game discs that I exported songs from, but I never sold my old controllers or consoles, just in case the itch ever came back in the future. At the end of 2015, a revival was on our hands, or so we thought. I bought Guitar Hero Live on launch day and Rock Band 4 that Christmas and tried my hand at both for a while, but neither really captured my attention or inspiration quite like the original era games. I would visit the classic games sparingly over the next 5 years, but not much more than that. During this time, I went to university and got a degree majoring in audio, and started working as a sound engineer and audio technician soon after. That kept me busy for the most part up until 2020. Now, for obvious reasons, I found myself with a little bit more spare time in 2020, just like everybody else. So I started to play Guitar Hero and Rock Band a little bit more once again, and I got invested in the idea of running custom songs on Rock Band 3, particularly for drums. I managed to buy a brand new MIDI Pro adapter for my Roland E-drums, and my lockdown hobby became pushing my limits with technically demanding drum custom songs. Snarky Puppy, Between the Buried and Me, Pliny, Nova Collective, just to name a few. These bands and their custom charts created by the community pushed me to become a better plastic and real drummer, and I remembered just why I fell in love with these games in the first place. That and this other PC game called Clone Hero started to take up my attention as well, so from time to time I would also load up Clone Hero, just every time I felt like loosening up the old finger muscles. Throughout 2021 to 2023, I'd started to wade back into the broader online 5-fret community, although it felt like starting over to some extent, mainly because I'd given myself a new username everywhere online that was different from the one I'd used in the old ScoreHero days. The emergence of other clone games like Yarg, and even a new official game in the form of Fortnite Festival, really helped to bring me back into the scene fully. but I still had some of the old favourites and my old Xbox 360 sitting in a storage box. I pulled them out and started playing through them again, and that's when I got an idea. I dabbled with streaming on and off over the past 10 years, mainly revolving around playing Destiny and Destiny 2, but I figured if I'm going to start playing Guitar Hero again, let's document the process in some way. And let's also see how many FCs I can achieve in each of the original 11 Guitar Hero games, with some detours into the Rock Band series along the way. That journey began in January 2024. I started streaming regularly on Twitch and TikTok, and played through every single Guitar Hero game over the course of that year. There were many roadblock songs that I ran into that really tested my skill, but I found that over the course of that year, my skills that had been stagnant for over a decade started to improve once again. I started ticking off bucket list FCs, and by the end of 2024, I'd achieved 654 out of the 660 FCs required for the prestigious full series full combo title. One of my personal favourites of those is, of course, the moment I finally conquered the Guitar Hero 3 chart of Through the Fire and Flames. Oh my god! I fucking did it! Oh my god. So at the end of 2024, I'd begun to establish myself in the 5-fret community as a skilled console player. The first few months of 2025 were dedicated to knocking off the remaining 6 songs in the full series. I'll probably make a different video at some point in the future that's dedicated to the story of my full series journey, but the important thing for now is that on April 18th, 2025, I became the 15th person and only lefty player to date to complete the Guitar Hero full series full combo. 13-year-old me would not even dream that this would be possible, but to this day, it's my proudest accomplishment, not just in rhythm gaming, but gaming as a whole. Yes! Yes! It's over! I did it! I really thought that would be the full circle moment where this story ended, but to be honest, since April 2025, this year has continued to surprise me in unimaginable ways. I started working and collaborating with Cracked to test and give feedback on their new guitar controllers. I continued to establish and maintain incredible friendships in this community, and I got to remind the wider gaming audience that Guitar Hero is indeed alive and well by representing our community alongside my good friend Freg at PAX Australia 2025. Coming back to this community over the past few years has felt like coming home. I've made dozens of friends that I love dearly, even if most of them are on the other side of the world, and I get to share my love for a game and a series that has given me so much in my life. Without Guitar Hero, I'd have never picked up a real guitar or learned how to play the drums, and without either of those, I'd have never developed a fondness for audio engineering and producing music. I still work in the audio industry and as a session musician to this day, and I think it can all be traced back to getting Guitar Hero 3 for the PS2 on my 13th birthday. I don't put it lightly when I say Guitar Hero is truly a pivotal moment in my life. It changed my taste in music by exposing me to rock and metal artists that I would have never listened to otherwise. It changed my career trajectory, it even changed my personality. This subgenre of rhythm gaming means everything to me, and I'm sure it does to some of you watching as well. And it seems like the future has never been brighter. The 5-fret community right now is abuzz with people doing all kinds of cool things. Charting custom songs, making new mods for the classic titles, new updates and features in the clone games, content creators spreading the good word of 5-fret, dedicated and obsessed players chasing their next big accomplishment, you name it. And new development studios like Red Octane Games and the Rhythm Company appear to be hard at work on what may very well turn out to be the next generation of official 5-fret rhythm games. I can't wait to see those teams turn their intense passion into something that can change lives, just like Guitar Hero did for me. But a special place will always exist in my heart for the series that made this incredible community possible. Happy 20th birthday, Guitar Hero. You rock.